there are a lot of Kenyans in South Africa. You can now go and read more about the politics in South Africa. It's the worst. People are not represented directly by them. The beauty about South Africa is that they have the best infrastructure. I think among the best nations in the world.
Those wonderful sporting facilities. Like
I used to support Orlando Pirates when playing with Kaiser Chiefs. People love to go to the stadium because of the hype, but it's beautiful and the people are lovely.
I'm still with the doctor here after being substituted. You can see the uniform, etc. So you've changed already?
Yeah, I've changed.
This is a kit?
Yeah, these are cooler box. I always carry my food. If at all I have some snacks or whatever.
Oh yes.
Some salad to keep them cool.
This
now
great.
We can talk.
Yeah, the South African experience. Yes. Imagine all the way from Kenya to a foreign land. And it's not easy to manage your life out there, especially in South Africa. Sometimes they are tough on foreigners.
True. Unfortunately, there is still that cloud of apartheid, and it's very unfortunate because even our brothers who are black. Actually, the main problem is currently what is there. The main problem in South Africa is that the blacks from these other countries, from Kenya, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, the DRC, name them, they're very hardworking. While the native South Africans, the likes of Zulu, Xhosa, and ABC, they don't like these menial jobs. So if you check people who are dealing with the so-called low-life jobs like tailoring, being cobbler, barbers in Kinyosi and so on and so forth, they are basically not the native, the black foreigners.
Oh, foreigners.
Yes, that is from Malawi,
Tanzania.
Yes, exactly, DRC and so on and so forth. So in one or another, the South Africans, the native, the Xhosas, Zulus, who are majority almost like 60%, 70%, that they like good life and they like a lot of money. They like good things, so to speak. I can just equate them to Jaluo mwenye ako na pesa, sort of. And the issue is not hardworking as such. So the thing that makes them hate other than blacks from other African countries, that one, these African countries take their jobs. Number two, because they are very hardworking, the so-called multinationals or the wazungus who have got huge lands, people who are having the field marshal, so to speak, the settlers like them.
Kaburu.
Because, Kaburu. They like them because they are hardworking and they are paid less. And then number three, they are trustworthy, as opposed to the native South Africans. And then also in academia, also in terms of research and so on, also you see that the other blacks from other countries are more hardworking as opposed to the South Africans. But majority of the native South Africans are not hardworking as such, as opposed to African nationals from other countries.
From other countries.
Yes.
But now making it as a foreigner, what are some of the challenges that you experience there, apart from the xenophobia or what?
Yeah, xenophobia. Fortunately, we were in a suburb, so they have what we call suburbs, and then they have also what we call the townships. The townships are our very own Kibera, what is it called? Kayole, and so on and so on. Those are Madere, those are the townships. While the suburbs, the likes of maybe Kilaleshwa. So the beauty is that the university or the research institute where I was schooling was in a living suburb, so we didn't experience such. But of course, when you are walking on the road, they expect you to, of course, to speak their native language, either in Xhosa or Zulu. When you are in the airport, they see you are black like them. They expect you to talk the language, and then also the way you behave, because
they just know
they are even perturbed or amused to see you talking very good English, questioning the white man and so on and so forth. But because I used to tell them we are all the same. The only difference is the skin. But when you cut me, the blood is red. Even the Mzungu, the blood is red. So that's the only fear. They have that hangover of apartheid, that fear, which is very bad in town.
But you see, they gained their independence in the 1994, close to 30 years ago, if I'm not wrong. So it will take them time, just like how it is here in Kenya.
Yeah, yes. You see, the problem is that as much as people glorify worldwide that their politics is right, it's the worst political system we do have in the world, in the sense that MPs are not elected directly by the people. The president is not elected directly by the people. That's how the worst is. And unfortunately,
in South Africa,
I tell you, that's what I'm telling you.
They're not directly elected.
You can now go and read more about the politics in South Africa. It's the worst. People are not represented directly by the, as in the so-called chosen leaders, elected leaders are not elected directly by the people. They elect the party. So the party
decides to select cartels.
Correct.
Yeah.
They decide to select cartels and goons to put them there in the name of the president and embassy. Now, the worst thing is that I think South Africa also is the only country where the seats of power are in different regions. Like we have the judiciary. The judiciary is in Bloemfontein, which is another region. We have the parliament seat. The seat is in Cape Town. We have the presidency, where we have the executive. The executive is in Pretoria. So you see now, and then you see Cape Town is for the exclusive. It's very far. You need to board a plane to go there. So utaliliana. So fast forward, the politics is bad in the sense that people elect the party. This party will now eventually pick whoever that is the head, the chairman or the presidential candidate is now who will be the president. But not necessarily that. The party will, depending on the votes, they calculate the percentage. Now, for example, they have voted and maybe there are 20 million people, or maybe 30, like what recently happened. ANC got 44. They didn't get 50 plus 1, you see. So they had to get other parties to come up so that they can add to 50 plus 1. So they had to seek. They had to seek coalition. So they calculate the tally, the national tally, and then this national tally will now determine the number of MPs they will have. These MPs they just draw a list. It's also me and you, we draw a list. We say Moha will be there, you'll be there, I'll be there, and then this list will be in Cape Town. So depending on how the national tally is calculated, that's how now the MPs are selected. Now these MPs, they go to parliament, they now vote in. Because they are majority now, they can vote in the president.
Which means it's all about sycophants.
I tell you. So now down here, the only person who is elected direct is a councillor. Now the councillor,
is it MCA?
Yes, like the MCA. They have the regional governments, whereby the head now is the premier. Now, it depending also on the majority of that region, the majority party, depending on the number of councillors there, they also form a block, or they form a parliament, or the regional government. Parliament now, they will have to elect the premier or the regional governor for them. That's how bad the politics of South Africa is. Yeah, so it's terrible. It's really terrible.
Was it engineered by the bothers and the, how do you call them, the PW Botha and the rest, or it was something that
I think it was
President Madiba decided to carry on.
Yes, it was about Madiba and PW. This Frederick de Klerk, the one they had a handshake with.
Yes.
You see, people are now too much bothered about getting freedom. The first thing was about freedom. The rest had to follow. But now you see, they promised them so many things: free houses, free everything. They promised them so many things without, can I say, heavenly promises,
just like in Kenya.
Which cannot be fulfilled. So that is the scenario with South Africa. But the beauty about South Africa is that they have the best infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think among the best nations in the world, because I have been also had the privilege of going to UK, and if you compare the UK, the gates you can push the Nigerian way, the way we normally push and like in South Africa, majority of the gates, 60%, the gates are remote controlled. And then the problem also with South Africa is that there's a lot of criminals in the sense that
they killed a Kidube one.
Yeah,
and the former national team keeper.
There's a lot of weapons. Like the way we go to a hotel, a restaurant, we put our car keys down there on the phone. That's to them, to South Africa. Those are guns and ABCs, pistols. So everybody can own as cheap as $30. Yeah. So guns are all over. They need to do some control, so to speak. But it's a beautiful country. The people are lovely. That's got the best scenery. It has got the best currency around. And the infrastructure is marvelous, because it's cheaper to use a plane than to use a bus. That is the funny thing about South Africa, because when you use a bus, you are actually adventuring, so it's charged more as opposed to when you are using a plane. So the stadiums are many, and the airports are many, and generally things are cheap, so to speak, because their foodstuffs. Averagely, I was spending almost 10,000 at most on food and some small expenses, unless kama unakunywa kidogo. But also you can organize some liquor. You go to the liquor shop, you take liquor at home, so you'll realize that you spend less as opposed to when you go to some 5-star hotel or something of the sort.
That's very interesting. But again, talking about those wonderful sporting facilities like stadiums, etc. You were there during 2010 World Cup.
Correct.
Maybe that experience. Can we borrow something now that we're going to?
I was not even.
We're going to co-host. How do you put it? 2027 Pamoja bid AFCON.
Yeah, I think we need to do more. The awareness, but generally the infrastructure there. As I told you earlier, I'm a football fanatic. It was not only because I went to South Africa 2009. And Moses Mabhida was just, I can say it was like Mombasa and Kilifi, because it's Durban to Pietermaritzburg. It's a journey of almost 8 kilometers. Because we normally have annually, we normally have what we call Durban Comrade Marathon, if you Google. Comrade Marathon, people normally it's now passing a century plus. We just celebrated the other day, centenary, so to speak, celebration. People always run from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. So this year, if they run from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, next year they'll do the other way around.
Yes.
And it's a journey of 80 kilometers. Imagine they're starting there as early as 3 a.m. but they are coming to finish Satano Sita. And then whoever wins, of course, top 10 guys normally get some. So we used to go to Durban. Durban, we have one of the best stadium, Moses Mabhida Stadium. If you Google, Moses Mabhida Stadium has got some rail on top. It has got some rail on top. So it's a very good scenery. When you go there, wako na kakitu kama train like, or some, what can I call it? Some carrier on top of that stadium. So it normally moves like this. So we used to go there to watch some derbies, especially I used to support Orlando Pirates when playing with Kaiser Chiefs, Nedbank Cup or MTN 8, those derbies, and it was very lovely. So even there's a time Everton came there and played with the Pirates. We were there. So we have been going to countless times to Moses Mabhida Stadium. So, but the experience there in South Africa is that unlike maybe in Kenya, people love to go to the stadium because of the hype and also I think it's just a fun-filled bonanza, so to speak, because those who have got good cars with good music, they just open the doors and then of course do their thing. They come with some barbecue stands with charcoal, whatever in South Africa they call it braai, wanachoma nyama with beers. So, and then also we have music in the stadium. So people go to the stadium literally. They fill the stadium
like
with
a picnic.
Yeah, correct. It's a fun field, and as opposed to here, in Kenya, people like watching football in bars and so on and so forth. But in South Africa, people like watching them live because of that fun-filled extravaganza and electricity. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Wekesa himself.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, great man here. We are at the Pwani University. He's one of the lecturers here doing his stuff. But wherever you are, feel free to subscribe Bonga Tube for more. You've learned a lot in terms of what happens in South Africa and what you should expect anytime you travel to. By the way, nowadays about 90 days visa free.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. Not even visa free. When we went there, it was a bit restricted. Remember, during our time when we went to study to South Africa, we used to pay something called a repatriation fee. We used to pay 50,000.
50,000
repatriation fee, just in case you mess up, you are deported to Kenya. So it was very unfortunate. But now that one is not there.
Was it refundable?
Yes, it was refundable. Once you finish your business in South Africa, they refund you. Number two, we, of course, for you to go to study in South Africa, you need to have a study visa. But we used to have visitor's visa. Of course, 1 month, it expires 1 month. Nowadays, it's free. So it's a big plus for tourists and of course for the two countries, the bilateral cooperation, which is very good. Yeah, it's a big plus for the two leaders who come together and say that, because there's a lot of business in between the two countries.
That's Ramaphosa and President Ruto.
Yeah, Ramaphosa and President Ruto. By the way, there are a lot of Kenyans in South Africa. I know there are very few South Africans here in Kenya, but there are a lot of Kenyans in South Africa doing their trade. Of course, majority of them are working, researchers. They're working there as lecturers, but some are also serious farmers. We had a guy who has over 1,000+ acres of miwa na mahindi, so we used to visit him regularly. Tunakula mbuzi nini, and people outside there are very friendly, as opposed to, of course, Kenyans are very friendly across the board, but outside there people are much friendly.
And it's also important to mingle with people from different walks of life.
Correct. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Daktari.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana.